After a long day of getting everything ready, we're finally going. Let's start up the boat. I will not be using the drone. It is way too windy. When the wind is like this, you definitely have to take it a little bit easier. It's about 13 knots of wind. Work with the wind and don't try to work against the wind. So even though my ideal pathway of leaving the dock is backing out like this and then going forward, sometimes you back out, the wind pushes you, you go with it, and then you reverse it.
This was the moment I realized the wind was not going to let me back out the way I wanted to.
It's a little stressful. I think you can tell by my face and by the fact that I was not talking to you guys at all. When the wind is like this, it's something I definitely need to focus on. So instead of just sitting there and fighting it, I just work with the wind. This is definitely not the way we want it to go. That's okay. We can get it straight and then we'll back out. Sometimes you back out, the wind pushes you, you go with it, and then you reverse it. Wind's pretty strong right now. I was going to go to the pump out that's on this side. However, because the wind is so strong coming at us this way, right now it says 14 knots, so we're definitely getting some gusts. We're gonna go up, and then we're gonna do a U-turn back over to this pump out. Wow, we're getting pushed so hard sideways. I'm gonna go to the pump out station that's on this side. That way I can hook this back line of the boat on and not worry about my front end flipping around and turning the other way.
This is another example of me working with the wind. Since all of the tension is going to be on the back line, I want to make sure I'm able to set that one first. Also, this is probably my least favorite part about owning a boat. It's important to take the front line off first here because the back line is holding all of the tension from the wind, and if we took the back line off, it would just flip the boat around.
I really hope it's not just into the wind like this the entire way, but it's a possibility for sure. So it's 5:50, the wind's supposed to die down in the next hour. Right around 7 o'clock, it's supposed to go down to about 6 knots. There's one catamaran in the anchorage. Once we get into this straightaway, the wind will be behind us. That's possibly going to be the only time the wind is going to be pushing us. You don't feel like you're fighting it as much. So during that time, I'm going to pull in the dock lines, pull up the fenders, readjust the front camera after we've pumped out. His head sail is only a little bit out and he's getting pretty good wind. That's pretty cool. I don't feel like it's necessary to use my sails because I have a feeling the whole way we're pretty much going to be into the wind. But we'll see. If that changes, 1000% we're going to put up our sails, but unfortunately I think we're just going to pretend to be a power boat today. We're not going to let the dinghy out onto its bridle line until we're headed towards Newport. If we let it out now, the wind would pretty much just push it in front of us, and then that risks the line getting into our prop, and then we have to call the towboat, and then Harbor Patrol comes over and saves us from the rocks and everything. It's just like a whole thing, you know? I'm really excited that my depth works. That's so necessary for anchoring. Now that we're heading this way, I'm gonna go do some chores real quick. Let me try to stand here so you can see me. That's enough of autopilot. We are headed out of the harbor, headed to Newport. Pretty much going to be beating into the wind the whole way. Definitely gonna have to get my other jacket out. Maybe they just wanted to be in the video. Pretty cool. Definitely gonna pull out some blankets. We're headed right into the wind, so I don't think there's even a point to put up the mainsail, to be honest. If we were heading out and then tacking in, we could do that. That would take us double the time, which isn't that big of a deal, but I'm not trying to get there at 2 a.m. We're already super far behind because I needed a dinghy. Let's get up around the bend. It's gonna be really beautiful at sunset though. That's gonna make for some good shots. Right now we're headed directly into the wind to get around the point of Dana Point Harbor. As soon as we get around the point, we're gonna be heading that way into Newport, and I actually think we'll be able to use the mainsail and possibly the jib. That would be pretty cool. Got some dolphins. They are definitely chasing some food, that's for sure. Eat up, friends, enjoy your dinner. We said it's time to eat. 6 o'clock, ding ding, ring the dinner bell. This is a little bit better of an angle. We're not heading directly into the waves anymore. We're a little bit catty-cornered to it. The boat is able to roll over the waves rather than just batting straight into them. This is a lot smoother. The wind is also not hitting us directly on the face, so it's not doing that thing with my ears where it's harder to hear. Unfortunately, we do have wind and current going against us right now, so this trip might take longer than expected. I had to kind of do a S-turn real quick to avoid some big seaweed chunks that I would not have wanted in our prop. I really had to grab the wheel, especially with the dinghy behind us. Having to reverse would be a nightmare. I'd have to pull in the dinghy first. When I tell you right now, there is no place I would rather be, I absolutely mean it. You get this feeling when you're on the boat, and it's this gut feeling, and it's just everything, and it's so good. And I think that, yeah, there comes the birdie. I was like, I saw it coming. I absolutely love it out here. I forgot how much I love this. Every time I go on land, I forget how much I love sailing until I do it again, and then I'm like, no wonder I keep doing it. It's just so much fun. Even though this is technically motoring, that's fine. I don't think my autopilot is enjoying these swells very much. I'm gonna manually steer it for a bit. When you're steering a boat, the way to get where you're going is to look ahead and try to pick a point of something stable. So you don't want to use a star, you don't want to use another boat, you don't want to use anything that moves. You want to find something on land, if you can see land, that's stable. Other words, you just have to use your degrees. But if you don't want to just look at what degree you're trying to keep the boat at, another way to do it is to pick something, like for example, the point out there, pick something on your boat, place it at a certain point on your bow pulpit, and as it moves off, just keep corrective steering to keep it exactly in that spot in the bow pulpit. And then that'll keep you in the direction you want to go. Hopefully that makes sense. There it is. It's about $1,000. I got the 8'6" one, which I wanted a smaller dinghy anyway. I was thinking about ordering the same size, but I was like, man, pulling that dinghy and moving that dinghy is so hard for me. So I think I'm gonna try and get a smaller one. This one only weighs about 100 pounds. It's only a 3-person dinghy, but that's okay. Me, Maui, and Kiki, I'll be be able to maneuver it around much better, especially now that I'm going to be doing a lot longer solo sailing trips. Right now it says I'm not going to get to Newport until like 11. I'm fighting the wind and the current, and those are slowing us down. It says I'm going to get in at 10 o'clock. It had the wrong waypoint there.